thinking, how dumb did they think people were? Or how dumb are people, I suppose, is the better question.
I mean, did you ever watch, like the biggest shows in the last 10 years are 2.5 Men or How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah.
Did you watch any of that stuff?
Like, I'll catch it on the plane. I'll catch the odd episode of what's the one where the nerds live together?
I think that's How I Met Your Mother. Or The Big Bang Theory.
No. Big Bang Theory. But I think nerds living together is the foundation of any modern sitcom. But yeah, I'll watch Big Bang Theory every once in a while on a plane.
Is it good?
I'll be staring at it. Like, what is this? Like, who thinks this is funny? Who thinks this is enjoyable? Like, I try to think about it from all the angles. Like, your brain is just so tired from, life is difficult and you're just scraping to get by. And so you just need to turn your brain entirely off. But then I think, how many better ways to turn your brain entirely, if that's what you're going for, is complete mental slush? There's a lot better ways to arrive at complete mental slush.
It's arguable because the alternatives are anything that's on Bravo.
Yeah.
Any of the reality shows that are on Bravo, the Kardashians, that one news show that you talked about on Noble Rot made by Kardashians in it, the attorneys or whatever.
Oh yeah. All's fair.
I mean, you can make an argument those are infinitely worse.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I suppose, so 100% agree. I'm sorry that I misspoke. Anything scripted is better than not anything reality, but better than most reality.
Okay, so before I push record, bring listeners up to date, before we do an intro, before we talk about surfing, I was playing old drops that are loaded into this program, and one of them was a theme song for Tools to Live By, and it was a ripoff of the Home Improvement theme song. I won't play it here because last week our YouTube version of this got demonetized because we played Q Lazarus.
Oh man.
So YouTube flagged it and they're like, oh, this is somebody else's material, so I'm not going to play that now. But we got on the conversation of Home Improvement. We watched it when we were kids. We laughed at it. But if you try to watch it now, it's terrible. It's not good. And so I was saying, yeah, but the modern stuff is terrible too. So that's how we ended up here. However, when we were kids, there was a few that, Seinfeld I loved and it still holds up. Totally. I don't know if this was on after Seinfeld or what, but it feels like maybe I just rolled into it. It was Will and Grace.
Did you watch Will and Grace?
I thought it was cutting edge. It was hilarious to me. There was gay characters. This felt like the first time where that was kind of like on mainstream television. I felt like it was taboo. I was probably 14 years old thinking I'm watching something taboo, hoping my parents don't walk in. But it was good.
Which would have been taboo back then. Yeah. So I'm watching right now, not to go down too far a rabbit trail, but 11/20/60, I think, or 11/22/60. It's a 2016 like miniseries or limited whatever show thing. Chris Cooper, James Franco, fairly star-studded cast. But the premise is basically he goes back in time and has the ability to stop JFK's assassination. But they do a really good job of painting 1960. And I think you look back at 1960 or nostalgia in general, right? You look back at the 70s or 80s or whatever and think, what a perfect time. 60s, I mean, everybody was, end of the 50s. It was all polite and well-dressed and fedoras and suits on men. And watching the show, they do a really good job of showing how stifled everything was between the racism, the sexism, all of this that was not just, it was entirely baked in. You like to fight against it in any way. And then you realize, oh, any of those times would have been difficult, especially if you were anything other than like completely, whatever, I guess a cis white man then in America, then your life would have been rough.
Yeah. And I think the fashion that you're talking about is a reflection of that. Like
buttoned up, look the exact same way. It's a uniform and we're all going to look the same way and don't try to deviate from it. And we look back now because things have gotten so the opposite and people are so wild in their fashion choices. We look back at that as being like quaint,
But it wasn't. It was a reflection of structure.
Exactly. And that's, I mean, for one of the first episodes, he goes back to 1960, one of the first times, and Chris Cooper had been there before and is like, hey, man, you got to go shave and get a haircut right away. This doesn't play. And you realize, yeah, it's not just like, oh, cool, look at that guy with the goatee and scruffy hair. No, it's like, look at that absolute freak. You better get in line with everybody else or else.
I think it was because of where society had come from, there was benefit to the individual to conform to society, to move together as a whole. Like you could, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so there was that moment where it's like, let's all go together until you get to a point where it's no longer beneficial or there's people bilking the system, that sort of thing.
To tie this all back around to surf, I think I perpetually take for granted, you hear the stories about those early dropouts, those ones in Malibu, right? Who were like, screw you, society, I'm going to be a surfer. Like the Mickey Dora, I'm going to be a beach bum, et cetera, et cetera. And you think, yeah, cool, guys. Anyone could do that. Anyone could do that. You guys weren't making a big statement. You weren't doing anything radical. But having watched the show now for a while, I'm like, oh, man, that was entirely radical. They looked at society, looked at this massive society that we don't have anymore, this, completely constructed whole, and broke out of it, which that's not easy.
Definitely not. Well, look, today, this is a precursor to our show that I've already outlined in that it's going to be, we got a lot to talk about, but it's a little bit more esoteric than our normal superficial banter.
Great. Let's go deep, David Lee Scales.
Let's attempt to do it. Welcome back. This is The Grid. It's January 9th, our second show of 2026. Chaz Smith over there, David Lee Scales here. One quick follow-up from last week. We were talking about, in Barrel or Nah, shapers who write religious symbology or even biblical verses on their surfboards when they're signing them. Somebody pointed out something. He said, DLS and Chaz, you overlooked KS11's using the Jesus fish in the Outer Known logo.
Where is that?
I'm going to pull it up.
Oh, I guess it is.
I'm going to pull it up as fast as I can. Yeah, the OK looks like a fish. Can you see my screen?
I sure can.
Is it the Outer Known logo?
It sure is. But you know what it looks like more to me? It looks like a dude that's fallen over after having too many drinks.
Are you familiar with this look?
I mean, I've seen this look on the streets. I've seen, because it's not just a normal fall over when you fall over drunk. When you see a dude who fell over drunk, it's something like this. It's one leg going up in the air, the other going the other way, head still on the pavement, but it's all akimbo. This feels more like that to me than a Christian fish.
Fair enough. Yeah, and if there is a Christian fish reminiscence, I think it's coincidental. I don't know that this would have been intentional.
Okay, which would be, if one of them was intentional, a drunk guy falling or a Christian fish, which would you think which would match Kelly more?
Fish. I don't think he's I don't know that he's Christian, but I know he's not a fall over drunk.
I don't think he's at all Christian, but he's closer to being a Christian, even though I think he's very, very far away from that. He's closer there on the spectrum than fall over drunk.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know how to close this screen now.
You can just look at the show can be brought to you by Outer Known. Oh, there we are.
I'll just push stop. Okay, well, we got also, by the way, so there will be more on Kelly and his ayahuasca journey coming up. That's a teaser. But we also got feedback even deeper after last Friday's episode of The Grit, even deeper into the bottom of Tom Curran's hair dye, but that is over on Patreon. So if you want to learn about family hair color, and I'm not talking genetics, go over to Patreon Extra Fine Grit.
I will have to say, before you go over now, but as you're going over, we got busted, I saw, in the comment section in the comments on Instagram for chiming off of Sterling Spencer's conversation with Tom Curran. Did you see that?
Yeah, but you didn't see the other comment.
Oh, what was the other comment?
The other comment was vindicating us, because this has been an ongoing conversation for now 3 or 4 weeks. Sterling's came after our original conversations, and the commenter said, it seems like Sterling's pulling a lot from our content and conversations. So he's
Great.
actually regurgitating.
But also, just let the record be shown. We'll never on purpose plagiarize somebody else's good work. Love what Sterling's doing. And even if we talk about what Sterling's doing, or even if we share a same conversation that Sterling's having, it is by no means meant to like steal from Sterling without putting a light on Sterling. Go listen to Sterling Spencer. He's a phenomenal, his podcast is so funny. Covers or fills a niche that is otherwise unfilled.
I agree with you, but I also don't mind pointing out the actual timeline on stuff. And
Sure.
I don't listen to him fully every episode enough to even know, but listeners will kind of they do, and they'll point out stuff. And there is a pattern here because when we were in Daytona Beach with Luke Cederman pointed out that the same thing happened to him with Sterling. He had this kind of ongoing joke about no chalants given. Nonchalant, or he's like, I'm going to give 100 chalants. Just basically a play on the idea of nonchalant. It's only used as nonchalant. Luke started using it as a spectrum of different chalants that you can give. And then Sterling picked it up and ran with it. And Sterling, I think, had like a larger platform and more traction with it. And Luke called him out. Luke was like, bro, you fully ripped that off. And Sterling's like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. It was really funny. Yeah. So he copped.
Happy family.
Sterling copped to it as well. But look, it is a happy family. I have zero animosity of any of it at all.
Oh,
by all means, run with it. It's hilarious. And the other thing is, if Tom Curran does something wacky with his hair, a lot of people are going to notice, and a lot of people are going to, or a very few people are actually going to talk about that one because they don't want to step on his toes. But it's in the zeitgeist, is all I'm saying.
Sure, 100%.
So now here's the other thing, okay? I just mentioned Extra Fine Grit. Go over, get bonus episodes on Patreon. There's a topic here today that maybe would be a better fit for Extra Fine Grit, and that is the blood feud on Instagram between Hydrodynamica and Jonathan Wayne Freeman. So I'm going to let you decide. Do we discuss it right here, right now, or do we take it over to Extra Fine Grit?
When are we recording Extra Fine Grit?
Monday.
Then we're going to talk about it here. I feel this is pertinent today, and I don't know if it'll be as pertinent on Monday.
Risky business.
It is.
You might end up revealing your political viewpoints.
That's okay. I'm down. I am more and more. Again. Well, we'll just save it. We'll save it for the conversation.
So to set the topic here. If you're on Instagram and you follow Surf Personalities, there's a possibility that you follow Jonathan Wayne Freeman, who kind of entered the space as a playing a stereotypical surfer part, but making fun of kooks kind of a thing. He's a surf comedian, let's call him. In the last year, he's almost abandoned that entirely and has gone super far right-wing commentator. And I'm almost abandoned humor as well. Like, he's not even making jokes anymore. He's just political commentator, right-wing, pro-Trump, that sort of thing. He's in Orange County, California, if that matters. An hour and a half south of
San Diego. I think San Diego.
Oh, that's California. Right. That's right. I'm mistaken. He is San Diego. Another San Diego surfer and personality is one Richard Kenvin. He... I would call him more of a surf historian than anything. And he has a project that he started 15 years ago, never quite completed as a film project called Hydrodynamica. But he's a big Bob Simmons acolyte and loves the concept, pays homage to all that kind of stuff. Anyways.
What does Kenvin think about the mini Simmons real quick?
Yeah, big fan.
Big fan, okay.
Big fan of the Simmons. So he's just... I don't know Kenvin personally, but certainly from following his Instagram, he seems to be more liberal leaning. So you have opposing sides here. So earlier, a couple of days ago, a U.S. citizen was shot and killed in Minneapolis, Minnesota by an ICE agent. And obviously, I'm sure everybody is aware of that news. Jonathan Wayne Freeman took to Instagram to give his point on it, which was... do you want to explain his point? Should I just read his point?
Yeah, I think we can let him speak for himself here.
Okay, let me pull it up, please. Give me 1 second. So basically, he said, unarmed, huh? Apparently vehicles can't maim or kill or injure. Legally observing while blocking federal agents, question mark. Lost her life not by not following simple commands so her wife could get some protest video of her, and to think it was all to prevent a Guatemalan wanted for murder getting picked up by ICE. Completely justified shooting. You should watch some very similar police videos. Nobody gets prosecuted. Oh, and Happy New Year and God bless. So Richard Kenvin then screenshotted that, posted it, and said 168,000 followers, and he's authenticated with a blue Instagram badge and probably has his stuff pumped up by the algorithm. Cold-blooded murder of an unarmed woman caught on camera doesn't sway him. I see a couple hundred of my friends follow this dude. George Carlin was a comedian. This dude is a fascist stooge of the police state, representing surfing and humor, question mark. What a effing horrific time we live in. So calling out Jonathan Wayne Freeman for his views. So, Hydrodynamica versus Jonathan Wayne Freeman. Chaz, what do you say?
Let's go. So, here's the thing here. This is what I've been pondering this. I didn't even know this was going to be a topic of this show today, David Lee Scales, but spent much time yesterday, in fact, deep into the comments of both Jonathan Wayne Freeman's, because Jonathan Wayne Freeman also did a post about, like, I don't know, it's riot season or something like that, trying to be somewhat funny, I suppose. And so I don't even know if he's trying to be funny. Who knows with that dude anymore. But went through all his comments, went through the whole entire Hydrodynamica comment feed, Christian Beamish in there, right? There was, like, obviously notable surf personalities weighing in, not on John Wayne's feed, I guess on John Wayne's feed too, but in any case, my complete confusion here, and by complete, I mean utter confusion, is why does John Wayne and his ilk have to be so lockstep on everything that the Trump administration says / does? There's never any light. There's never any break between those positions, whether you agree or disagree on something, right? I've just never once seen them say, well, they got it wrong this time, right? Like on the left side, I feel, when Biden was seeking re-election, all kinds of folk on the left, I would hear it consistently and regularly. Dude's too old. Dude shouldn't run. It wasn't like a lockstep sort of, well, yes, the Democratic Party is putting him forward. Therefore, we're all getting on board. We're going to do this thing. We're joining the movement. And anyone who, and of course the mainstream media and stuff was idiotic about, I don't know, not doing stories about Biden's clear mental decline and all this stuff. But it's not like the lefties on the street weren't talking about it. There was all kinds of, this old senile dude, I can't believe he's getting put up, right? So all kinds of break with the party line. On the right, now it seems, particularly the MAGA right, or I'll say only the MAGA right, it's like they're unable to break. And so with this particular shooting in Minnesota, I could fully see how you would be a law and order type, conservative, where you would look at that and say, yes, it's a tragedy, but she, didn't comply and the officer feared for his life and a tragic thing happened, right? Where you could argue that, as opposed to, what information does John Wayne have that the ICE agents were going after a Guatemalan rapist and murder? What information does he have that his wife was there fully that her they wife. Had staged this? Her wife, yeah.
The driver's wife, her wife.
Yeah. Her wife had fully, basically implying that this was a staged action to Like, he's just spouting stuff. And I'm not saying that, I don't know, but the lack of ability to even account for nuance is what shocks me. And surfing, I feel, used to be anti-authoritarian, used to be punk, used to be going back to initial conversations of dropouts who went to Malibu, right? and I know, of course, now surfing as a culture, as a lifestyle is what, 60, 70 years old now. So of course there's multi-generations and blah, 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 blah. The only thing I don't understand is why you have to be so lockstep. Why can't you say, I don't know. I don't know what happened. Period. That's a real tragedy. A woman lost her life. Period. Like, and that's what I think is infuriating about the John Wayne crowd. About, you know, I'm not saying that the people on the right don't have a legitimate position, even when it comes to the shooting. What I'm saying is John Wayne and that whole crowd's inability, entire mental inability to even accept that there might be something slightly different than what the administration is saying baffles my mind.
I don't have the answer to why they don't, but it shows a very clear flaw in their ability to analyze things, which then discounts their position entirely.
Yeah.
Because it's also, by the way, part of the danger with affiliating with a political party. And maybe I'm misunderstanding or not seeing something here. Maybe there's value in identifying with a political party that I'm unaware of. But to me personally, when I was growing up, we were a Republican household. And so I was raised in that, and that was my self-identity. And as I got older, I developed more nuanced views, and I realized that I share views of different parties, you know, and more aligned with individual candidates than an entire party. And then as I got older, I realized the views of the Republican Party that I was raised with are so wildly different than the current Republican Party. So if you just went, like you said, lockstep with party lines all along the way, it would show a complete inability to do your own processing and critical analysis and all of that. You're simply, you're a sheep following the party, right? Not realizing the party has made a 180, actually. So at what step I get off the bus versus other people or Jonathan Wayne still being on the bus, I think is a clear reflection of just their own inability to process data and be a critical thinker in real time. When you're at the point where you don't believe your own eyes, and instead you're going to either listen to the tweet that the president put out, or you anticipate what his side is and you're going to just believe that side even before that tweet comes out, that shows an actual fracture in your mental capacity. And when I say believe what you saw with your own eyes, what I mean is we all saw that video and you might be able to process it differently. But what they're saying, what one side is saying is his life was in danger. What I'm saying is we have the evidence. The car continued to go and it didn't hit him. And so if she would have tried to go and then the car stopped and then there was a question mark of was he in the way, was he not? I don't know, let's pull out a graph and try to figure it out and diagram it. Then that would be there'd be a question mark there. But there is no question mark because the car continued to go and he did not get hit. And so he was not in danger of being killed. He made a judgment decision. And now we've learned he was dragged by a car 6 months ago or whatever and got a bunch of stitches. So, okay, his judgment was, influenced by something that happened previously. And he made a bad judgment call. But that onus is still on the ICE agency. You know, you employed a guy who made a bad judgment call. Our bad, a woman died, but you have to accept that responsibility of that judgment call. But we know for a fact his life wasn't in danger. So anyways, all to say, we all saw the footage, and if your brain simply takes party lines for a political purpose at this point instead of believing what you saw, then something's wrong.
I mean, I fully agree. And even if, playing devil's advocate here, playing John Wayne advocate, even if you think, well, she only turned the wheel after, like that his life was in danger, and all this kind of stuff. what they're saying, like, to go as far with that video and pretend that video is conclusive footage of that his life is in danger that there's no nuance there, that you can't see another side, right? Even JD Vance came out strong, came out party line with the active, I don't know if he used domestic terrorism, but
he did.
That kind of overreach.
He did absolutely
insane.
Say that. Yeah.
But then at the end, right, some British reporters of that press conference asks him, you can say definitively, you can look at that video and say definitively that you know that she was aiming to kill this officer. And he says, well, I don't know what's in her heart, right? I don't know. And so even Vance, when pressed, could accept that video is not cut and dry evidence of a rage-filled murderous woman trying to run down an ICE officer.
Yeah.
The fact that John Wayne and those bros, anyone who cannot say, I don't really know, it looks to me like I fully accept or can accept a position where it looks to me that she was aiming for him and he was scared and so he shot her, right? I'd say, okay, I mean, that's your take from that video. Going so far as to say it's cut and dry that she was, and then to add the ICE agents were going after a Guatemalan murder rapist, and this is like, then all of a sudden you're like, man, John Wayne, you have lost the stinking plot, and I feel sorry for him, to be quite frank.
Too. Yeah.
I feel sorry for him and for, it's a bummer.
Well,
it's a bummer that he lost it.
Part of the reason I feel bad for him or his ilk is, look, I'm aware J.D. Vance was a never Trumper 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like hardcore anti-Trumper. Watch the footage. Tulsi Gabbard, anti-Trumper just before election time.
And a Democrat.
By the way, Trump himself, a Democrat, just prior to the 2026 election. You know what I mean? So I understand these are super smart people who are compromising their morals and their ideology for the paycheck.
And for power.
And for the power. Fully understand that. J.D. Vance getting up there saying domestic terrorism, he absolutely does not believe that in his mind, in his head. He's smart enough. He's doing it because there's enough significance and power and money attached to following the Trump edict that he's going to continue to do it. What's in it for you, Jonathan Wayne Freeman?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're going to abandon, again, what your eyes are witnessing, your own critical thinking, all of this just to maintain the party line, is it for a pursuit of power? Is it for a pursuit of a paycheck? Is it what is it in the end of the day? And that is the part that I don't understand.
I mean, very little that I've experienced in this world, in this life, is so black and white, right? The John Wayne Freeman type is all of it's black and white. And when you scrub nuance from anything and refuse to hold room for maybe I don't know everything, maybe I don't have all the answers, the way the John Waynes go, and I'm not sorry, John Wayne made himself a totem of this, right? And so the way, though, that they have just scrubbed nuance, scrubbed any, and then act like they were there. Oh, it's cool, John Wayne. You were sitting there talking to the ICE agents, knowing you had met with the Guatemalan murder rapist before, knowing that he was hiding and they were getting him. And then you went and talked to the wife, knowing that, like, how are you acting like you know? How are you acting like at least you could say, I don't know. It seems to me ... Fine. Have your opinion on the way you perceive what happened. But don't go gaslighting me. Like, you are insane.
Well, so my potential answer to that is Kenvin said in that post, Jonathan has 168,000 followers. When I just looked it up prior to this show, he had 164. So maybe he lost 4,000 followers in the last 24 hours. But there's a potential business at 164,000 followers. There's probably a certain amount of revenue that John's generating off of his account. So is it actually that he's, knows that playing this character and doubling down and tripling down is great for engagement, which is maybe more followers, which is maybe more money, and that's what he's doing. But also misreading the room. He's losing followers instead of gaining the followers, but maybe his intention is just keep pounding this narrative because there will be dollars and cents.
No, I don't think he's that smart. I think he's just unfortunately deluded and has bought this thing, like has made this his hill to die on. He is here, like he's probably only consuming, a particular kind of media. He's not reaching out. He's not looking at other headlines. He's down the rabbit hole, right? He is deep, deep, deep down in the echo chamber. Nothing else is coming in. And I was thinking about this too. I had that exact same thought when Kenman talked about his 168,000 followers. I popped on over to JWF and saw 164 and thought, okay, but this is a cycle that's continuing to isolate and insulate him, because what'll happen will be, I'm sure he has followers on there that followed him from a while back when he was just doing surf comedy, who are not political, who were there for comedy. So they unfollow, right? And whatever that vacuum is not filled with 4,000 more, it's just filled with more and more people who think exactly like. So all that's happening is the echo chamber walls are getting reinforced.
Yeah, I agree. Well, to try to see the other side a little bit, what is it for Kenvin, or what are your thoughts on Kenvin drawing attention to Richard or to Jonathan Wayne Freeman by even publishing any of it?
I don't think anything, right? I mean, I think that there's no gain out of this. It's anyone who thinks like Kenvin thinks, anyone who saw that video. And again, I will speak to the left as well. Anyone who's out there saying that they know, right? I know she wasn't even there for the ICE protest. She was there to pick up her kid from school, or, and I know that I know her intentions. No, you don't know her intentions, right? Like, there was an awful, terrible tragedy. My perspective of that video, everyone's watched it. And it's funny, this video I think has become not a Rorschach test, but it's one of those pictures where you look at it and, some people see an elephant and other people see a car. And it's just one of those, right? Where I understand how if you are right-leaning or whatever, or if you're, I could see how you could think, no, she was not listening to these officers, and she punched the gas while somebody was standing there. Blah, 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 blah. But back to Kenvin posting it, it's not a net. I just don't see anything coming from it. All you do is you solidify the people who believe like you. You push away the people who don't believe like you. But I will say, though, on the lefty side, I've seen a lot more nuance in the conversation than the righty side. But to just close off here, did you read Conan O'Brien's thing about comics losing their way?
No.
I think he had I can't remember, he was at a conference or something like that, where he basically said all comedians who are going the F Trump route nonstop, just F Trump, F Trump, F Trump, they've replaced their best tool, which is comedy, with anger. And all they're doing is being angry, where we still need to be funny. That's the best tool you have right now in your toolbox, is be funny. Sure, be provocative or go against the administration, or, be politically whatever you want to be. But the comedy being replaced by rage, which I feel that's precisely what has happened to John Wayne Freeman. Now, and not that it's happened to Kenvin, all fine and good, but whatever conversation is happening below the line there, I don't think anyone is either changing their mind, being educated, learning anything. It's just people getting even deeper into their feelings.
I disagree. I think that there are people changing their mind. I think there's people jumping out of the MAGA, like the cult far right version of it. People are jumping out of, or they're not realizing that continuing to be an association with, it's now coalescing into a more cult-like, organization.
I mean, I agree on this one. I don't think that's happening in the comment section, but I do believe broadly. I don't know how any reasonable person can look at those videos, look at what happened, and say definitively she was trying to kill that officer, right? If you can say that, then something's wrong with you. I fully get you looking at that video and saying she might have been aiming at him, or she could have been, or it's a possibility. But to say definitively, which is where JWF and the rest of the too far goners have, planted their flag, like, what are you talking about? You have lost any ability to see anything. But to your point, I do think that a lot on that side are looking at that and saying, I ain't about to call that domestic terrorism, even though the leadership is.
So that's the part that, and this is kind of your original point, the part that confuses me the most, or that I'm saddened by, is, the sad part for me is that there's these tragic losses of life, and for whatever reason, interneters feel a certain amount of impunity to just speak about it with zero sympathy. Like, if your ideology is so strong that you've abandoned your human capacity for sympathy about a loss of life, then you also need to check yourself, or just reassess where you're at in your, in your headspace. Because whether it's George Floyd or Breonna Taylor, whatever version of it
Charlie
along
Kirk.
the way, I see it, totally, including Charlie Kirk. I told you, that was the first thing I said to you when we were talking about on Noble Rot, was like, I was so traumatized by seeing the video.
A husband, a
And
father,
I wasn't,
whatever you think about the politics, if you can't stop for 1 second and say a husband, a father was murdered in public, was executed, and if you can't stop and say that, what's her first name? Good? Something good. Yeah.
her last name was Good. Yeah. That's a funny thing. Well, I mean, this is not funny, but we can't even remember.
It just
all the
happens
names.
rapid fire. But you can't stop for 1 second. If you're on that side, you can't stop for 1 second before making your big political screed and say a woman, a mother, a partner of a dude who was a veteran and died, all lost her life. She wasn't caught in the act of slitting little children's throats and lost her life, right? She was driving a car. And again, that's exactly what you're saying. Humanity's gone.
Entirely. Yeah, it's really tragic that's the point that we've gotten to, where you allowed yourself to get so radicalized by politics to where somebody's dying, you have zero sympathy, and instead you're going to jump on and just muddy the good name and the water and all. It's like, by the way, good name. That
Great
was
one. And then end
pun.
with God bless. And then end
You're
with
welcome.
God bless.
That was,
is like,
yeah.
pack that
Right.
up, Jonathan Wayne, and get out of town.
Her name's Renee Good. Well, geez, moving on to even, I'd say equally as controversial, potentially, is Kelly Slater on Ayahuasca.
How did this get to be news again?
Because the retreat just celebrated a 10-year anniversary, and they put out a press release claiming a 98 point something percent quote success rate with their patients.
So I read that number. It was so stupid. 98.73. It was something, or 89. It was so specific, right? And I'm like, okay, big wave measures, cool. Like, A, what's success? B, how do you not have how do you have that fine a point on success?
I'll tell you. It's self-reported. So to set the table again, Rhythmia is the name of the resort down in Costa Rica. Kelly Slater went there as a paying, I don't know if the word is guest, patient, or what terminology they're using, but he went down there and did a ayahuasca retreat and saw huge benefit in it. They invited him to be on the board. So he's on the board of directors there. He's involved with them. And they sent out a survey. What it appeared to me is they sent out a survey to their former clients or current clients asking the benefits of the treatment. And this is a self-reporting. So this is very different than a clinical study that is done by, doctors or universities or even journals that are publishing research. This is not that. This is just like their own self-reporting of people saying, I saw a benefit from the ayahuasca treatment in my life. And Kelly's one of them, by the way. I have the testimonial video. I don't know if it's worth playing here or not, but we can if you want.
I already know what Kelly says and thinks about ayahuasca.
Kelly is a huge fan. This video, the testimonial that he did for them was about 8 years ago, and he talks about a radical kind of epiphany information that was gifted to him through the journey, and it's been a miracle for him, which, it indicates why he would join the board and support the cause. Do you have thoughts on ayahuasca in general?
I have no thought, nor do I have any personal interest in trying. Do you?
I don't feel a need to try it. It seems very potent, and people do have impactful life experiences. The ones that I've spoken to, I know people who've gone to that exact resort, and I think to a person, it's all been positive. I don't know a person who has said that they've had a negative experience there or on ayahuasca in general. So to me, it seems thumbs up, but I don't have any ailment in my life that I feel I need healing from to where I would take that measure. But I do believe, just philosophically, that plant-based medicine is probably a better solution than corporate, pharmaceutical medication, which I also don't really take unless I'm in I've got my wisdom teeth pulled and I got on Vicodin for the duration of that, prescription, and then I never took it again. So I take it occasionally, but generally try to avoid.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, I 100% agree with you on the plant-based medicine thing, right? Like, if something is natural, I trust that a lot more than a multi-billion-dollar for-profit company that clearly has, there's value in them being dubious, right? On that,
there's value in them using the product and even overuse of the product.
Also, regarding psychedelics, right? I'm like, for sure. Like, I can completely see, not completely see, but as I don't do, but I get it, right? I understand, I conceptually understand what this is. And this is the point where I get to personally, I guess, where I'm like, and at the end of the day, I'm just a square, right? Like, I am just a square. Like, there's either how I was raised or the way I feel now, or I'm just not willing, to go down certain paths personally. Like, I just have I just feel like it'd be going so against every grain of myself. And maybe it's just fear. And that's probably what they would all say, right? Is like, you're all wrapped up in your ego and all this. And this is the part of this process is unraveling that. And then you realize when you get to the other side of that, you're all tied up in what you think and I understand, but I suppose I'm just square.
They make movies about it where it is a miracle drug and you take it and you come out the other end 10x more efficient, 10x happier, 10x feeling more, all of it. If there was that type of a potential for it, would you be willing to alter your brain, your body and your brain's chemistry?
And again, that's where chalk it up to me being a scared square, right? It's just, I like my life. I like the way my brain works. And maybe it's it's horrible for me. Maybe it's like, that's why you're not getting any better, dude. That's why you are stuck in your middling place, just grinding it out because you're not willing to take the big risk of ayahuasca with Kelly Slater. Also, but here's the fact that Kelly's all in makes me think, screw that then. If Kelly's on it, I don't want it.
I hear what you're saying, but I
like turtles.
Way, look what I just found. Loaded into the media board.
I like turtles.
So I agree with, I'm a late adopter with all this kind of stuff where it's like, I want the science to be in. And so I think that is what's going on now. Maybe not at Rhythmia, but just in general with psychedelics is a lot more research and a lot more understanding. And so the next, in our lifetime, we will see things being fully treated with these natural plant-based medicines, dosed.
Great.
Accordingly for a specific thing, to treat a specific thing. So I like that, and then I could get to the point in my life where maybe I would consider using it. Going in willy-nilly, and just having like general anxiety or general unresolved childhood repressed something, and hoping that this gives me some connected communication with a former version of myself or ancestors that is going to then heal everything, I think is a little bit more of a big swing, and we don't know consequences.
How much of your life, I mean, is it good to have papered over traumas and then built little brick walls around them and just keeping them there, right? Like, yeah, man, I don't need to take the hammer and chisel out and start busting through the grout on the, on the stuff that I've purposefully walled up.
That's a great point. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I do think that the general philosophy is that it's not a good thing to keep those things chiseled
I mean,
up.
who says?
But yeah, we can question it for sure.
But also, back to Kelly, too. And I don't mean to be rude. I feel that people think, rightly so, that I pile on Kelly Slater all the time. There is almost no... There's almost no person I'd rather be less than Kelly Slater.
There's people I'd rather be less.
I'd way rather be Kelly Slater more than Nick Reiner. But in terms of in terms of, that's
Nick Reiner may be worth more.
I mean, that was a silly statement. There was all kinds of people I'd rather be less than Kelly Slater. But I look at Kelly's life and I think, it looks like torture, man. I mean, I get that, he gets to flit around and surf all the time, perpetually. But I just look at it and it just seems like Kelly Slater has a giant hole inside that he just can't fill.
Mm. Well, he's in pursuit for sure of betterment all the time. So that could be true, what you said. I think the older I get, certain philosophy becomes a little bit more solidified for me, and that is that there's no free lunches in life when it comes to health and wellness. And it's kind of like diet and exercise. And there are faster ways to get there, but they come with a certain consequence. And so then it becomes a matter of weighing out, is this GLP-1 going to get me to my ideal weight, and what are the consequences of that? And maybe it's worth it to me, but it's still not a free lunch, because the diet and exercise...
It's free non-lunch when it comes to GLP-1s.
Exactly. You come out net positive when it comes to food bills. But you know what I'm saying? Like the diet and exercise in that example not only gets you to where you want to go, but then there's all this inherent benefit and building of character along the way. And so with ayahuasca, maybe it's it's more of a free lunch because it's natural, but it still is subverting the general processing that you would go through to get to where you're trying to go.
Also, specifically, I know that ayahuasca has been used for, centuries, whatever, in the Amazon by certain peoples. Sure hasn't been used for centuries by white European dudes. And so like applying, I mean, it'd be like, we had a Sherpa conversation on Noble Rod. Sherpas were David Lee Scales' Hero of the Week on last week's Noble Rod. And so it'd be like you and I thinking, well, Sherpa can do it, so can I, right? I'm going to go over there, I'm going to live on Mount Everest and start just going up Mount Everest 2 or 3 times a year, oxygen free, helping other people, right? Where, Sherpas can do that because for centuries and centuries and centuries, they've been living there doing that. And conditioned. So again, with things like, and nothing against ayahuasca. Nothing against ayahuasca for white folk. But I think that's something that people don't often consider.
Look at us, speaking on things we know nothing about as usual. That other people are like, have very strong opinions and very much skin in the game.
The best part is call in and share, because once again, I ain't speaking as no authority here. I am speaking, that's what I think.
That's what you started out by saying, so I think you cleared it in the intro. And also I said, everybody I know who's done it has great experiences with it. So, yeah, don't let us dissuade you from going to
hip to be square.
But if you do want to...
It's not hip to be square. Oh,
exactly.
Man, the best. Sorry, finish your thought.
If you do want to call in to take Chaz's... take Chaz up on that. It is 1-760-237-0150.
Talking also Noble Rot about movies we just watched, and told David Lee had just done a back-to-back screening of Eyes Wide Shut and American Psycho. The scenes in American Psycho when he's talking about the music he's into before murdering people, like going on the deep, and I know that's all Bret Easton Ellis, but going on the deep dive into Huey Lewis and the News and which of the Huey Lewis bangers and then Phil Collins. It's so good.
It really is a great device. The other question I forgot to ask you, because we had this thought years ago when American Psycho came up in conversation, is at the end of the film, do you think it was all a hallucination for him or not?
I'm going to say no, because it cheapens the film if it was a hallucination. I mean,
I think it was.
Certainly not only goes down the middle, but leans toward hallucination, that last scene.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, moving on into a less controversial, but equally as maybe esoteric? Not esoteric. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know.
Good.
I'll think of it while I'm reading it. Remember we were talking about bodyboarding, the epiphany of maybe they're more enlightened species?
Yeah, how could I forget?
Okay, thank you. Here we go. I told you after that I got a bunch of letters from listeners, and I was meaning to read them. Well, here we go. Dear David and Chaz, this is a bit lengthy, so bear with me here, but I think it's worth reading. Dear David and Chaz, thank you for acknowledging bodyboarders on your podcast and referring to us as brethren and sisters in your last episode. As a devoted listener of The Grit, Surf Splendor, and Noble Rot, I've been tempted to chime in whenever bodyboarding is mentioned, but never have. However, as a 57-year-old bodyboarder since the age of 9 or 10, I feel equipped to share my thoughts now. Re-listening to DLS's point about shaming our egos as bodyboarders, I agree that stand-up surfers have looked down on us both literally and figuratively for as long as I've been surfing. And for all the wrong reasons. As you pointed out, bodyboarders are more enlightened and closer to the source, which gives us a unique perspective on the waves. We get to see the inside of the wave before it closes out, even if it's only for a split second, in the sacred barrel, the green room, the place most will never see, unless, of course, they make it out, which is scarce, but always the ultimate score. Over the years, I've been blessed with several stand-up surfer friends who weren't embarrassed or even phased to have a boogie boarder alongside them in the lineup. Sure, there have been occasional aggro surfers that would give you the stink eye, which never bothered me, as I knew I would get to see the wave in a way that they would not, even if I got worked in the process. And make no mistake, to be prone is to be vulnerable to the violence the wave provides, relentlessly over and over. But that, to me, is truly experiencing the source to its individual end. Releasing oneself to being ragdolled and held down at a frequency that most stand-ups don't share as often, thus furthering the enlightenment, if you will, not to mention the abuse the ribcage takes during a solid session. Tom Morey, may he rest in peace, invented the Morey Boogie in 1971, which became wildly popular to anyone who wanted to experience riding the wave. That's when the term boogie boarding began. I only mention this for those stand-ups who have always hated prone wave riding because it seems like an obnoxious kook's toy. And it's always been hard to explain to non-surfers that it's far beyond that. Just think, if the traditional surfboard had started out as a piece of styrofoam with a cutesy name, the serious surfers wouldn't have had to endure the same ego-punching stigma as core bodyboarders have endured all along until the present. Yes, the bodyboarding community does it for the love, not the recognition. We ride the same waves and are unapologetic about our chosen craft. we can take the beatings in and out of the water. So the next time you're in the lineup and a booger shows up, don't discount the fact that they love the same, that the same love of surfing applies. And remember the words so eloquently spoken by David Lee Scales: your biggest enemy is your ego. And those of us who have had that ego shamed out of us don't care anymore. Pick on stand-up paddleboarders. Those dingleberries can have it, or they have it coming, rather. Thank you, DLS and Chaz. I will recommit to being a paid subscriber. Apologies for the lapse. Wishing you and your family stellar holiday season. Big ups, much love, keep work. Joel V. Graham in NC, which is North Carolina. And then he puts a postscript that says, by the way, David, recently I complimented your growth in journalism, and yes, you deflected. Chaz, I have read most of your books and have liked them very much. Respect to you both.
Thank you so much, Joel. Joel put a bee in my bonnet now for both of us, David Lee Scales. I think you and I need to lose the ego. Therefore, we are going to go on an ayahuasca boogie board journey.
Perfect place. Rhythmia.
Yeah.
Go to Costa Rica.
Boogie and Waska up. The boogie and the wask.
It makes me think. I'm down, okay, just for experimental purposes. I think our life would be altered. Now that I'll actually engage in this conversation, I bet our lives would be altered if we went down there, did ayahuasca and boogie boarding.
Like,
guaranteed.
I don't know how we wouldn't come back. And so that's the thing. So here you and I mean, this is all tying in together. You read about it, you hear about it, you learn about it, you know it. From the Buddhist monks to the, stinking Franciscan monks across the board. Ego death. Kill that ego. That ego is only getting in the way. Ving Rhames. How do you say the last? Ving Rhames in Pulp Fiction. Looking at Bruce Willis pre-dimensioned, saying, you're gonna want to hit. That's your ego talking. Kill your ego, basically. Great little scene right there. You and I, or I at least, can't kill my ego.
Can't? Without
no,
ayahuasca?
I'm saying
is that what you're saying?
This is my I would love to get on reading about Joel, 57-year-old bug. I would love nothing more than to walk down to Tabletops tomorrow, just south of Seaside, where all the ripping groms are, with a bug, or I guess there's no stairs there. I'd love to walk the beach, bug underarm, fins in one hand, kick right out. My ego will never let me do that.
Right. Yeah. Well, ayahuasca may
so
be the
ayahuasca
answer.
plus boogie. Do you think we could do you think there would be enough to get an ayahuasca boogie board listener trip going?
We set up a GoFundMe. It's $5,000 a pop. So there's that too. Unless anybody's got a line on some off black market ayahuasca.
How many people would have to sign up? What would your paid check have to be to co-lead with me a boogie board ayahuasca retreat?
Knowing that it's going to alter my life permanently, I'm not sure I could put a price on it. It's a real good question.
Man, how bummed would young Austin be if daddy left and then some other daddy returned?
Shaven, no beard for the first time in his life.
Have you ever done that?
Tripping.
Or have you done that recently?
No, not recently. I did it when he was like 2 or 3, a year or two
Massive
ago.
trauma.
And he did not care. No, he didn't care at all. He looked at me and didn't even notice.
Oh, so maybe he wasn't
traumatic.
New ayahuasca boogie Dave.
He may be more enlightened than both of us in that he just accepts me for who I am. But it made me think reading that letter. I feel like you and I, maybe you more than I, but the show has followed a similar narrative arc to the Grinch.
Oh, because we are becoming less gritty.
Less Grinchy, for sure.
I mean, I would hope so.
More accepting.
I mean, again, And
I think it's
all
true.
the way back to JWF, right? Continue. I don't need to go down deeper and deeper and deeper into what I already think, right? I want to be stretched. And I love that about the listener calls and all this. Like, show me something new. Show me something different. Show me where I'm wrong. Like, I want to know more, and I want to know different.
Okay. Well, we're on our path. But whether it includes ayahuasca or not remains to be seen. We said no. Midway through the show, we're already changing our mind. I've got one more thing that I think we should discuss before we go to Barrel or Not, because, hey, it's surf related. Are you following the Wave of the Winter?
I am. I'm following it on Liam, I do believe, McNamara's Insta channel. He's the one doing it, right?
So he is, and I'm going to go ahead and bring everybody up to speed here, because I feel like it is not amplified enough. Obviously, he's organized it. He's collected $100,000 to give away to the competitors in it, the winners in it. And they're going to deem a winner each month. So now we're at the end of December. I think they're having the awards ceremony for the December waves in 3 days on the 12th. And then they'll do a January one, maybe and a February one as well. So there'll be 3 months, and then they'll do a kind of final, comprehensive winner. But we have 3 contenders for December. Have you seen these waves, and do you want to watch them right now?
I've seen them, but let's watch them right now.
Let's watch them. There's, I think, some audio that comes with it. So let's see if I can make that work. All right. Can you see it?
Cannot.
Let me try again. Share screen. We'll do it without the audio, I think. So 3 guys, 1 pipe, 2 backdoor.
Here we go.
Now you can see it. All right, first wave, Makana Pang. I love the pipe, proper pipe wave.
I loved this angle, to be quite honest. Like, I don't know how it was different, but his takeoff, the angle, I don't know where that shooter was shooting.
It was a drone angle. It was just a stagnant drone flying in the channel down by Ayukai. So we're going to replay the Makana Pang wave. He kind of backdoors pipe. He's like on the backdoor side of it, and he goes pipe. And it's just a perfectly ridden pipe wave, about 10 foot, blown out with the spit, major claim. Second wave is Luke Tema. I don't know if it's Tema or Tema, but backdoor runner. Kind of a classic backdoor wave. And then the third is one Shane Dorian, Back Dorian. Nickname for a good reason, but the idea that Shane's in the running is kind of insane. Do you have a favorite?
I mean, I hate to old man out here, but I like Shane's the best.
I do too. Shane's
the best. I mean, I really love the angle on Pang, and I love the backdooring pipe kind of aspect of that. Who was the middle one? Tema.
Luke Tema.
His is like throaty and gnarly, but that Shane wave from start to finish is like pipe or backdoor art.
Yeah, look, Luke Tema's wave or Tima's wave is a sick wave that anybody of us would love to get, but it's kind of standard. It's like we see a lot of those out at backdoor all the time. Shane's was bigger and a crazier.
So there's winners of each month, and then the months go into the finals for the winner or the wave of the winner. Okay, got it.
Yeah. I might be mistaken. I feel like I remember seeing that it's 10 grand a month. Like, the winner of this will get 10 grand, and then the final winner in the end gets the 70. So, it'd be insane if Shane won.
Do you go vote, or is Liam and a panel of judges deciding the wave of the winter?
I think there's got to be a panel, because I have not been. They haven't. Yeah,
I like that because in this day and age of social media, like, it's so easy to weigh that vote, right? It's so easy to put the finger on the scale. Where things like this, it should be a panel of pipe experts should decide, not me sitting home.
The problem is, then there becomes a question: is there a finger on that scale?
Yeah, but I trust Liam McNamara's finger. Okay. Don't you?
Fair enough. I trust him, but we're all subject to bias. You know, he lives on the North Shore. He lives near a lot of these people. I'm sure there's friendships involved. And whether or not you try to be objective, we're all subject to our own bias. So there's that. Okay, well, good work with the Wave of the Winter crew, and keep it coming. We appreciate you guys documenting this. And like I said, I think it needs more amplification. If you're following it, then you'll see it, but it's not really. Look, Beach Grit, post it. You know, other outlets, post it. Let's get more attention on this. Sweet. All right, let's take a quick break and then come back and discuss, I don't know, abortion. What else could we do that's
perfect?
Will be controversial?
I think trans has been unpoked for a while. Let's get back into trans.
Let's hear what Sasha Jane Lowerson has to say about the shooting in Minneapolis. All right, Chaz, welcome back to the show. Well, you know what? Good news. We got theme music for the next segment of our show.
It's barrel. It's barrel. It's barrel. It's barrel.
It's a hard barrel.
It's barrel.
Hard barrel.
Barrel.
It's a hard barrel.
It's barrel. Or not.
Straight Shane Dorian back barrel.
That
Backdoor
YouTube
barrel.
demonetize that.
Yeah, exactly. We will be getting paid when other people use that song on their videos. If that's how it works, I don't really know what's going on anymore. Okay, barrel or not, watching television with subtitles.
So I've read a lot about this. I've heard a lot about this. I've thought a lot about this. And I am down now to it is no barrel. It's getting in the way unless. So the subtitles should be on if for whatever reason you are having to watch the television at such a low volume / quiet that you know, there's no way to actually hear what they're saying. But every time I watch something with subtitles, oftentimes I feel the subtitles just come on pre-programmed. Like I don't go turn them on, or I don't know how they've arrived on, but they're on. And I'm too lazy to turn them off, right? But I realize that I'm missing the nuance of the show or film because I'm just like a monkey. Words, read words, right? And I love reading. I'm a writer. I'm all about the written word. But it's not like there's Shakespeare going on down there. It's not like it's, you know, a lost Hemingway novel that's down there where the words are beautiful. No, you're reading what the dude is literally saying. And it feels both lazy and then you're missing because you're not watching the nuance on the screen.
I'm full barrel, and I've gotten past the point that you're at now to where I can ignore the subtitles, but then check in when I need to.
I hear you, but don't you find yourself checking in too much? And why do you need to check in? What's wrong with your ears?
I used to.
What's wrong with your ears and your brain processing what your ears are hearing?
My ears are not great. I have poor hearing, and also sometimes somebody will say something that is indecipherable to me, like the way that they delivered the line, or maybe they have an accent and I'm unsure. I can glance down real quick and pick it up. I hear you,
but what if that's
so? But I can ignore it.
What if that's part of it, right? What if, let's go back to what's his name, to Benicio del Toro in The Usual Suspects. Flipia. What was his character? He had a good character name. But he spoke basically, the point of it was to speak difficult to understand, right? And so if you had a running subtext, that was part of the character. You're ripping that nuance out of the character by this is what he's saying.
Well, that's a pretty unique example. Fred Fenster. Yeah. Fenster. That's a specific example, and in that case, I will consider taking your recommendation next time I watch it, and I'll shut off the subtitles during his scenes. But look, I've lived life both ways, and I gotta say, subtitles, deeper appreciation.
Are you sure?
For all of it,
Are
deeper
you sure?
Absorption of all of it.
I feel you're missing.
So.
The film was not, unless somebody's shooting a film to be subtitled, which would be like a P.T. Anderson, for example, if he was like, okay, I'm going to make this film, and this film, you're supposed to watch it with subtitles on. P.T. Anderson ain't thinking about no subtitles. Like, he's making a film to watch and to hear. He is not making a film to watch, hear, and read.
I go one further. And this relates back to our earbud conversation from last week, which is at night, after Austin's gone to sleep, if I'm watching something by myself in the living room, I'll put an earbud in and Bluetooth it to the TV so that nobody is woken or annoyed by what I'm watching. But I've found that I love that experience. It's like a much more, talking about how the film is designed, it's designed with obviously a sound editing and all this kind of thing that I think kind of dissipates in an ambient room or through 100%. The noise of a room, but once you have your earbuds in and you're hearing every little thing, it's like you're completely absorbed. And then I do the subtitles on top of that. Oh my God.
Okay. Well, I will agree with you on the personal surround sound. I depart on the subtitle.
Okay, fair enough. We will remain separated here. Barrel or non number 2. Frothstration. Dear DLS and Chaz, I have invented a new word to describe my feeling of not being able to surf because of the persistent southerly wind. Barrel or nah, frothstration. Work,
absolute barrel. And I didn't know what the word was. I couldn't put a lexicon to this exact fact, but this is a fact in every surfer's life. And it's not just like a random rare thing. Swell comes pumping in, chewed first thing in the morning, and you are so frothy because you saw the swell, saw the buoys, and so frustrated because the wind has wrecked it.
I think you can apply this a little bit more broadly too. There's times where you're just amped to surf. Maybe you got a new surfboard, whatever it is,
100%,
and the waves are small.
You're exactly right.
And you have this latent energy in your legs and your body, and you're just like, what am I going to do now? Like, do I have to go find a pickup game at the park to play basketball or something? Like, it's frustration. It's frustration.
Thank you, Channel Bottoms. I'm going to put this up. I'm going to do the best that I can to put this up for whichever dictionary, Britannica or Webster's or whoever does that. This is the word of the year, right? Frustration. Because this could be beyond surfing as well. This could be you're hyped to do anything and it just doesn't turn out for you.
There are surf words that have gone mainstream, and I think this is one of them. This could be one of them. I think
so many college boys going out to hook up at night, coming home alone, are just frustrated.
Absolutely. Now, the only issue I have with it's a little bit difficult on the tongue.
Yeah,
because you got the 2 R's.
You got the
2 R's with the in between.
It's the TH to the S. It is the TH is a fricative, not a bilabial. It's a something fricative, and this is all my masters of applied linguistics just going away. A something sibilant. Those ones are hard together.
Frothstration.
But also, there's a lot of hard things to say in English, and we over time have trained our tongues. And I feel multiple generations down the line, no problem saying frustration. Yeah.
Frustration.
Barrel.
There.
Huge barrel.
Frustration. All right, cool. Barrel, thank you very much, Channel Bottom. Good work in the comments section and good work in the Barrel or Nah section. Final Barrel or Nah. Buying boards you definitely don't need. I know you guys are in this boat, and I bet the majority of your listeners are too. For the past 15 years, every board purchase I've made has been totally unnecessary. I buy out of lust or curiosity to feel something slightly different. I justify it saying it'll fill a gap in my quiver, but the truth is those gaps are razor thin. I'm sure I could live off 3 well-made boards and then just replace one of those every 2 to 3 years, but here I am buying 2 to 3 a year, and dozens of them go completely unridden for years. This is so counterintuitive to my general philosophy of minimalism, but I can't seem to stop. I'm currently eyeing a Derek Disney Twinser fish because, I have a fish and I have a Twinser, but I don't have a Twinser fish. Work and don't tell my wife.
Beautiful. Thank you. And if you can, absolutely do. I feel this goes hand in hand, sort of hand in hand with the adage, don't go shopping when you're hungry, right? Like, if you go shopping when you're hungry, you're going to make weird purchases, not weird purchases. You're going to get like stuff to fill you up. But where's the pleasure in just being full? If you go shop full, you peruse, you maybe get that, aged cheese that you wouldn't have otherwise gotten, right? You try something new. And these little experiences with surfing, this is what we're left with, right? There's no more, you and I both know, I think every listener knows intimately, there's no more big hockey stick shaped growth happening in your ability. You're going to get not tiny better, nothing. You're just going to feel something different. It's funny. I got the Shane Haran fins. I haven't put them on yet, but got the Shane Haran fins. They just arrived a couple days ago from the wonderful friends at Naked Viking Surf. NVS, best fin on the market, hands down. I told him I was staring at the fins, and it's a weird looking one, right? It's just this long keel, basically. Yeah. And it looks like a keel on a sailboat. And I looked at it, and I just thought, I need that. I don't know why I need that. I just need it. And so I told him that I needed that. And he was like, kind of why, right? And I said, I just want to feel something different. And he fully understood where to a writer, or to the opinion, or statement, what is it called? The missive from listener. That's what you're doing. You're feeling something different on all those boards. A twinser fish will feel different than your twinser and your fish. And that's what we're chasing, I feel, as surfers at this point in our lives, is feeling something new. Barrel.
You're not going to surf. Yeah, you're right. You're not going to surf differently. You're not going to surf better. You're going to feel something different. That is the only distinction.
That's all we have from here on out, is feeling something different.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's crazy.
It is true. Like when I got on that stinking Soma mini Sims, right? Like that felt so different. And now I've ridden that almost exclusively for too long because I'll get trapped into a board. I need to put that aside now because it's time for me to feel something different again. Guess what I'm going back to? CI Pro. I'm going back to the CI Pro to feel something different. I'm not going to rip it.
I bet you'll surf it. You'll surf it better after having been on the mini Simmons, I bet. Now, there's an additional thing here. I agree with those things that you said, and I am absolutely like, this is a problem for me as well. I have too many surfboards that don't get surfed. But the additional thing is, it's really fun to lust over toys. It's something from our youth, and as adult males, there aren't a lot of other things that I have that satisfy this same childlike lust. I don't covet new cars.
Couldn't afford it.
I'm just not couldn't afford it. Also, just not a collector in general. But for some reason, with surfboards, I have this obsession, and this certain addictive quality in me forced this one specific thing. And additionally, I think it's almost good to... It's almost advances. Like I want to earn more money next year so I could buy more surfboards. You know what I mean? Like I want to service the addiction, but I can't afford to. Well, how can I make myself afford to? Well, you know what I could do? I could do this other job over here and do this and that just so I could buy more surfboards. So I think it's actually good for your upward mobility economically to have these things, because if I was a car guy or a watch guy or an art guy, I'd probably be earning a lot more money than I currently do because I'd be chasing that pursuit.
Maybe we need to up what we're addicted to. Could be boogie boards, ayahuasca, and art.
Those are the opposite. Enlightenment, boogie boarding's enlightenment. Ayahuasca's, counter. It's a ego eraser. So we won't chase those superficial pursuits.
There's something really, and I suppose only a surfer knows this feeling. Maybe not though, because I feel surfboards are. Only a surfer appreciates this feeling. There's something so sexy about a surfboard's lines, like there are about classic car lines, right? Where there's just something. You look at whether or not and I feel that especially in the sort of ride anything era of now appreciating, man, look at the lines on that thing, right? It doesn't just have to be a pointy thruster anymore, but look at the lines. Even never going to get a longfish. Don't want a longfish. But I look at some longfishes and I think the lines on that thing, look at the legs. They just go and go and go.
Bodyboards don't have
That's
that,
true. Sorry,
unfortunately. But I agree with you. There is something sexy about surfboards and the lines and the contours. And yeah, totally. I mean, it is. I'd say it's even more than sensual. I think it's specifically sex appeal. You know, it's somehow connected. I've often thought about this joke. For this show specifically, I just haven't figured out the joke itself. But it's to do with everybody who ever picks up a surfboard for purchase, examines the lines you're talking about. 99.9 of them have no idea what they're looking for or what they're seeing. Yet every single person in a surfboard shop gets it. They hold it on their arms first, then they put the nose on the ground and they tilt it and they look at the bottom contours. And then the sales guy goes, yeah, it goes single to double concave. He goes, yeah, I see that. Uh-huh. Oh, you see a little bit of V too? Yeah, I see that V right there. Yep. Nobody sees anything. You know what I mean? But we all go through the exercise.
Though, like with sexiness, how much does appreciating sexiness have to do with what you see? A lot of it. How much of it has to do with what you feel? A lot of it, right? And so when you're fondling that board, eyeing it up and down, just ogling it, you're also feeling it. And so even if you don't know what you're looking at, you're feeling what you're looking at.
I agree with you entirely, and I'll go a step further into this increasingly becoming gross analogy in that
no.
You don't want to know. You don't want it to be predestined. You don't want it to be orchestrated or there to be a formula that you are following. You want to pick it up and just not know. You're like, what is a channel? Ooh, this feels kind of good. I've never felt channel. 4 channels? What? That's crazy town. And this hard edge, didn't know I liked a hard edge. Now suddenly I like the hard edge. Like, let's see what this feels
imagine
like.
that you could have, at 25 years old, drawn up your dream girl, right? Like this color eyes, space, the whole thing. You could have sat down with a sketch artist and had it dialed to perfection. I would bet you all the money that it wouldn't be nearly as good as something that you never expected to come ramming into you.
Chaz is really revealing his interest here on the show today. I'll go one further again. The problem with this analogy is you get tired of it.
But that's the beauty of it.
You need to try the new one.
Is you can be a man whore or just a whore when it comes to surfboards. Zero moral blight.
Maybe that is what we're all chasing. Maybe this, for those of us living in the confines of monogamy, this is what the surfboard obsession is actually representing.
It's
Ron
acting
from
out. Board porn. That's why it's called board porn. It all comes full circle.
It was always right in front of us, right in the title. Is we all just want to
new feelings.
Not only fantasize, but we want to entertain the fantasy in a safe space where there's no consequence other than the $1,000 expense.
I think we really solved a major. This is totally true, and it is.
This is totally true.
It is all sexual and also a victimless crime. There's no Epstein Island of unused surfboards, of lightly used fresh surfboards.
So now we need a listener to chime in who is a male whore, who is out there sleeping around with different women various nights of the week. Does he only own one surfboard?
I would imagine so.
Because he's already exercising it all out in that realm. So now he's like, no, I've had one surfboard for 5 years.
He probably looks at everyone and says, what? I surf at the same spot. I know exactly what board works that wave. I ride that board. You guys are all wasting time, money, and energy on all of this silly pursuit. Call in, man.
Amazing. Call in. Call in. Well, I actually went to Derek Disney's website after reading this to see what surfboards he had on offer. And not only does he have a Twinser fish that was mentioned here, he has a Zorn Twinser fish. He has a Twinser Goodwave shortboard. He has a Exer, which is like like all these different. I'm like, well, not only do I need to fill this tiny, tiny, narrow window of my quiver, now I need 4 versions of it. Because apparently there's a bunch of gaps in the quiver that I was unaware
I feel that's
existed.
the thing. You walk through that razor thin gap, and then all of a sudden you're in a cavern with a bunch more what you perceive as razor thin gaps over. You're like, oh wow, now I'm in the Exer world. But Exers, I'm sure, could go all different ways too.
Some have red hair. Yeah, there's natural red hair, there's fake red hair, there's different shades of red, there's auburn. Well, look, listeners, if you made it through without screaming at your phone for the first 40 minutes of the show, maybe we provided some enlightenment here.
At least some levity, but also, dear, even if you were screaming at your phone, I ain't one side or the other here. I'm saying stop going lockstep. Everyone, like, think for yourself. If your position is 100% aligned with the position of who you, like, your person in power, then you need to check yourself. You need to think, wait, that person is in power. I don't need to line up every step of the way with this dude or woman.
Good point. And I will also say, whatever side you're on, try to show compassion for people who get killed over a misunderstanding.
On either side, anywhere. Full stop. Again, we've lost our humanity. Once we stop caring about people dying, something is severely wrong with us.
Dying over a misunderstanding. Clearly a misunderstanding. Really major consequence for a lot of people in this one. So anyways, we'll be back over on Extra Fine Grid if you want some bonus content on Patreon on Monday, and of course on Noble Rot, our non-surf show, on Monday as well. All right, Chaz, until then.
Keep work.
Sweet.